So we are officially live after a very enjoyable day, but long day, and we finally have the Christmas boxes up. See, when I give this view, it is to show the progression of the Christmas tree. That's the main purpose. It's a maybe you splice it all together and you show the Christmas tree slowly going up over time. Probably not, but I'm just saying it's an option if we want that option. And today, for this second vlogmas of 2022, I'm glad you're here, even though you're not yet. But nevertheless, I'm glad I'm glad that you're going to be here. Let's just speak it that way. But for this amazing Vlogmas event, we're going to talk about geography, and there's going to be a quiz at the end. So you want to make sure that you take note. I'm kidding. No, it's these weird things that Carolyn and I run into in our videos where we go to different places in the mountains here in Appalachia for the most part, and just weird anomalies, weird things that we find that's just kind of crazy. We've even made some videos about some of the odd stuff that we find in the mountains, or just oddities, I should say, just things that you find. You're driving around and you're like, why is this like this? And you can't get answers. You would think you would be able to find the answer to everything at this point in Google. I mean, is there anything in the universe that somebody's not asked Google yet? And apparently there are a few things. Maybe I don't know how to ask it yet, but apparently there are a few things. So today we're going to talk a little bit of geography, not geology, Carolyn, not geology, but geography, topographical geography, like what things look like, not necessarily the full course of geography, but definitely what things look like from above, sort of. So we're in a wilderness area today. Going to make a video this week just for you guys who like the videos better than the Vlogmas thing. We're going to make a video this week about a wilderness area down in the southwest part of Virginia that we kind of bumped into. I'm not going to say we discovered it, because obviously other people have discovered it before we have. I mean, I'm just saying, people were here before us. So we didn't discover it. We discovered it for ourselves, if you will. And so I'm putting together a video for that right now. And it's just strange because it's on the West Virginia border. And if you do this on your, when you get time, it's a lot of fun, is go to the border between Virginia and West Virginia, the state line, if you will. And you'll notice that it's just about all mountains. It's all mountains. Hello, Walter. Good to see you. And when you're on this ridge line, Walter, between Virginia and West Virginia, I shouldn't say on the ridge line, because you kind of can't do that. The bottom line is that there are forestry roads both in West Virginia and Virginia, but you can't get there from here. Yeah, it's weird. You can't cross over the ridge lines on these forestry roads, and it makes no sense. It's almost as if it was planned that way. I'm not trying to promote conspiracies here. That's not what our channel does most of the time. So these roads, these mountain forest roads, they're dirt roads, but on the Virginia side, they're very well maintained. And on the West Virginia side, it really just depends on what time of year it is. They get a lot of snow when you cross that ridge line. You're crossing over that rain shadow there, so they get a lot more rain and precipitation on that side of the ridge line than they do on the Virginia side of the ridge and valley system there. And so when you cross over, which you can't, but if you could cross over, you would notice there was a huge precipitation difference. But you can't get there from here, and you can't get here from there if you're on one of those mountain roads. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. There used to be lots of roads that cross back and forth, but they're all gated, and they've been turned into trails. A lot of them have, and some of them have just disappeared from the map. And I can imagine that the Forestry Service, I mean, it's just my brain going, what do I know? But I can imagine that the Forestry Service or whoever, because it's not a national park. I mean, this is just national forest. And I'm imagining that they worry about, I don't know, cars, traffic and stuff through there. Maybe even environmental things, but it shouldn't be that big of a problem just to have cars crossing the mountains in certain areas. I mean, my goodness, how many people are as crazy as Carol and myself anyway to want to do that? But it's weird. Just go to Google Earth and find the line there between Virginia and West Virginia, and you'll notice the obvious crossing places where you cross on a 4-lane highway or whatever, or like Highway 33, it's a 2-lane highway. But you will not find, at least to my knowledge, a single dirt road, a mountain dirt road where you can cross over the ridgeline. And I tried Googling it because Google should know everything, right? I mean, that's the time we're living in where you could say, Google, what is 850 billion times whatever? And there it is. It just pops up. It just populates like magic into your phone. I mean, we've all grown accustomed. Like I made a ham this past Thanksgiving. It was terrible. It was awful. Was it not? It was awful. I made this ham. Stop it. Made this ham. And what's weird is that you could find 8,500 ways to make a ham on Google. Google knows everything. But if you type in a question like forestry roads that cross between Virginia and West Virginia, or any of those types of questions, any variation of that, you're not going to get an answer. You're going to get answers to questions you didn't ask. It's just strange. I need some help with that. National Forest Road, or I think it's FSR, FRS, National, whatever. NFS sounds good. Something like that. But yeah, you're not going to find places to cross over. Good evening, DJI. Good evening to you. We're talking about this global conspiracy to hide forestry roads. Okay, it's probably not a conspiracy at all. It's probably some information I'm missing. Like, what happened to them? And what does that have to do with Vlogmas? Everything. Because that's what Vlogmas is, right? It's a way to connect. So we talk about the videos we made during the year and just answer some general questions. And if anything else, we just laugh and talk about how tired I look. All these circles under my eyes. We can talk about that. It's good evening to you, Nathan, DJI. And of course, as always, Walter Langston. He says that the Appalachian Trail will cross some of these dirt roads. Yes, and we were on a road that it crossed today, which is weird because this is only the second time, which we weren't in West Virginia, but we were on that side of the valley of the Shenandoah. So being on that side of the valley, we crossed the Appalachian Trail on the road. It was kind of cool, a little marker set up for it. That'll be in the video too, just seeing the white blazes there in the trail close to West Virginia, not far at all. And you cross another ridge line there on the Appalachian Trail, and you're in Burke's Garden, which we made a video about that last year. Burke's Garden, of course, is the highest valley in the state of Virginia, which is cool. It's like 3,000 feet, which is why I made a mistake today. Let me tell you what not to do. So if you have the Google Earth app, don't do what I did. Don't do what I did, where I look at the bottom number there, and you're zooming in and zooming out. And I thought that was the elevation. I'm dead serious. I've never trusted or relied on it. I never looked at it. I usually look up elevations when I get home from a video or something, but I'm looking at Google Earth, and at the bottom, it has like 5,000 something feet. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how accurate this was going to be on the fly. I thought I was going to have to get home or whatever. I didn't realize that this thing was going to be accurate. And I didn't know that there were a plethora of 5,000-foot mountains in Virginia. And it's on the West Virginia border. I know because we've made so many videos at Spruce Knob, which is the highest point in West Virginia. I knew that there are no 5,000 footers in West Virginia because the highest peak is 4,800. The average elevation in West Virginia is 1,500. So, I mean, it's a mountain. It's called the Mountain State for a reason. But over on the the Virginia side, there are 5,000-foot peaks here, but most of them are 4,000 feet and less. So I'm up there in this wilderness area, and I look down, it says 5,000 feet. I'm like, holy cow, man, this is awesome. This is awesome. We're on another 5,000-foot mountain. I was excited. I was really excited until we got back into Signal, and I started just web browsing some general information about this wilderness area to get kind of the script going for that other video. So I'm web surfing and I'm looking around, and they're saying that it's actually mainly in the 4,000s, the mountain tops that are in this wilderness area, and that the elevation ranges from 2,000 to 4,000, which meant that I was like 12 to 1,500 feet off, depending on what I was looking up at the time. And I couldn't figure it out. But it turns out that if you're on Google Earth on your phone, that the feet down there at the bottom has to do with zooming in and zooming back out on that location. But I ask you, why? Why does somebody want to know how many feet? I guess there are reasons. I just answered my own question. Like you're wanting to know, if you're this far above on the phone, but not literally as in elevations. And it's funny because to get the elevation, there is a little method But to me, if there's something that would be valuable, it would be displaying a constant elevation on Google Earth. Wouldn't that be? Doesn't that make more sense to me? But that's what I mean by you can't get there from here. Is that between Virginia and West Virginia, there's no clear way other than designated highways and whatnot to take a dirt road. And if you know one, I want to hear about it. To take a dirt road in the middle of nowhere in a wilderness area and cross the ridge line over into West Virginia. And I want to know why. So if you know a forestry person, if you know somebody, in the Department of Agriculture there, if you know a guy that can answer that question, help me out. Let me know what's going on there. DJ says, never trust technology. But there for a moment, everything the technology was telling me was true. But that's the problem, DJ. You never know when they're just going to, that's it. Because it gets you hooked. And you start relying on it instead of old topographical maps. You could buy forestry maps, forestry topo maps, like a book of them or whatever. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy that for Virginia and West Virginia. I know between the two, most of the time I lean towards West Virginia because it's just so far in the middle of nowhere. It's awesome. And on the Virginia side, you got that illusion that you're in the middle of nowhere, but you're not. And again, you've heard me say this in a lot of videos. Half the U.S. population lives within 500 miles of Richmond, Virginia. So the population density is a little, it's like crossroads in Virginia. But when you cross over into West Virginia, it's like a whole different world. Walter says, been on some nice old dirt roads, but you stay there in West Virginia. And there are some great, amazing forestry roads, dirt roads, gravel roads. There's actually a list online you can look up for West Virginia dirt roads. Gary Millwood's in the house. Good to see you. Where is the leaning tree? The leaning tree.
It looks like it's leaning from the one direction.
Ah, you remembered. Excellent. The leaning tree is, if you notice, I've got the boxes up. Like last night, we had nothing in the background. Tonight, we have boxes. And the boxes, I'm just going to show that's like, I don't know how much of that you can see, but those, I would be a terrible weatherman. I'm not getting that right. But anyway, those boxes, there's like 7, 8 boxes here now. And downstairs, there's like 7 or 8 more. Seriously. Yeah. So it takes like 17 days to prepare. I'm just kidding. I got to go down after this. I got to go down and grab a few more. And then Carolyn starts putting the tree as far as sticking the little things in. And I help out here and there. And then it's time to put the lights on, which is my domain. It's where what I've been assigned over the past several years is light duty. Not light duty, but Christmas light duty. So, okay, I was cheesy humor. Very cheesy. So, yeah, we put the lights up. And you're going to be a part of that here. Right here, it's going to be great. You're going to see the leaning Christmas tree come up. I'm hoping it doesn't lean as bad this year because, it's all about the setup. It's all about the setup. I think I'm going to get the level out this year, like hold it against the tree, I don't know. This may be the last year for that tree. That tree is like 15 years old. Carolyn doesn't want to get rid of it. She's like, that is the Marion tree. I'm like, honey, it's a skeleton at this point, but I don't know.
Still looks great.
But it still looks great. It does. So yeah, Gary, it's coming. It's coming. The leaning tree is coming. We have at the church this weekend. We got a lot going on. We've got a tree. No, we don't have a tree. Yeah, we do. I don't know if they put it up yet or not.
It's half up.
It's half up. Yeah.
They'll probably finish it tomorrow.
But we have our candlelight service this Sunday night. So it's a busy weekend, obviously. And we are in the process of redoing our fellowship hall, turning it into like a multi-use area. And that's been a lot of work. Church is doing it. We're doing it ourselves. We're not doing too bad either. We've had a couple of people that's helped from the outside. We're grateful for that. So it's just it's busy. It's the busiest time of year, right? It's the most wonderful time of the year, unless, and I wanted to bring this up too, is seasonal depression. And this is the time of year where you've got less daylight. I think next year we're not doing the daylight savings time anymore. We're done with that. No more daylight savings time. And that might help a little bit, but you got people with seasonal depression, which I used to have. So it was terrible every single Christmas. It was bad. I blamed Christmas for a while, and I didn't even celebrate Christmas. When Carol and I first got married, we didn't even pay attention to Christmas for several years. And it's a tough time of year for people who suffer with seasonal depression. So here's some again, for whatever it's worth, I highly recommend. I highly recommend conversation with people that you know and you love. This is great. I love interacting with people on Vlogmas and getting to know each other. That's what this is all about, is getting to know each other. And when I see Gary Millwood pop up and or Brenji or Juan, any of our subscribers that have been around for a while, and I recognize their name immediately, and that we kind of feel like like we know each other in the real world, like we're friends, and it's great, and I love that, and it means something. It's great, but you need during this time of year, if you suffer and struggle with seasonal depression, you really need to reach out to a support group. One of the things that I find wonderful is, of course, having a church group. I believe that our hope is specifically and only in Jesus Christ. That is where our hope is. This is the season of light. This is the season of hope, and it's because Jesus Christ was born of a virgin almost 2,000 years ago, and that's what we're celebrating right now. But not just his birth, but his life, all the miracles that he performed. He lived perfectly, and of course, we celebrate the fact that he died for us, and that 3 days later, he didn't just die, but he rose again. And by believing in Christ, we have hope that we can be saved just by saying, Jesus, forgive us of our sins, wash us clean, make us new, become Lord of our life, and we can start new in him. And man, that's something to look forward to in this season. So I want you to be encouraged. And if you've never accepted Christ as your Savior, man, now is the time. Now is the time. I'm not saying it fixes all depression. It doesn't fix all depression, because sometimes, man, we go through trauma and whatnot that has to be worked with, that you have to talk about. You have to get it out. And you need a network of friends. A church group is great. It's a great place, man, to get to know some people and talk about it. And so I just wanted to make sure that I got that in. And you'll hear me say all of that again in a few days, because it used to be it was such a problem for me years ago. And now I don't really suffer with seasonal depression anymore. I really don't. I don't get that. I don't, it's one of those things.
Nope.
If I get down now, it's because, the truth is that not everything's perfect all the time, and you might have a bunch of stuff going on or whatever. But I used to get that depression for like the no reason. Like you could win the lottery and then you still get depressed. It doesn't make sense. And so I had to deal with it in my life. And I'm telling you, this is the season. Make connections, make friends, talk about it. Gary Millwood says, no, Bill, I love the leaning tree. Exactly. Walter says, hear laugh in the background. Yeah, that's Carolyn. She's our engineer, producer / all-knowing person tonight in the background. I can see her through the lights here that I've got. I'm convinced that a part of the reason why my eyes look so dark is it's the lights. I'm serious.
Probably.
It has to be. It's one thing when I'm preaching. By the way, if you guys want to come to church with us, you can, no matter where you live. You go to Ray of Hope Harrisonburg. It's Ray of Hope Harrisonburg on Facebook, right? Go Ray of Hope Harrisonburg on Facebook, and you can join us for our Sunday service. I mean, we're just a country church right off Interstate 81 in Harrisonburg, Virginia, and 10:30 Sunday mornings. Join up with us and be a part of the crowd. Be a part of the crowd. I got sidetracked though when I was talking. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like I'm preaching and we stream. Everybody streams now. Everybody streams. So we're like streaming, and you can't tell about my eyes because we have lights on the sides. And I'm telling you, I think that's what it is. Gary Millwood says, if I can help anyone, Gary, there's one person right there willing to talk and, get to know each other. There, Carolyn posted a link as well to the church there at Ray of Hope here in Harrisonburg. Harrisonburg's a great town, man. I don't think it knows that it's a growing town that's about to explode yet. It doesn't know. It still like believes with all of its heart it's a small town, and it's not. It's growing rapidly. This whole region seems to be growing rapidly, even across the border there in West Virginia. It's just growing fast. David Lowe says, thanks for the church link. I was supposed to give you that a few weeks ago. I'm so sorry. I've yet to get to that. I apologize. I forget. Got so many things going on right now. And so tell me, guys, in your state, wherever you live, is there a place where you can't cross the line on a dirt road? Does anybody else have a situation like that? Maybe you don't want to cross the line. I'm just saying, if you live between two wilderness areas, it's odd that there's no dirt road that takes you, an old forestry road or something that would take you to the other side. I'm just saying. I think there used to be one in Tennessee down around Murphy that you could take into North Carolina? I know that Cherry Skyway, down there where David lives or near where David lives, you cross the Tennessee border. Cherry Skyway is like the Blue Ridge Parkway. Very, nice. Not my favorite parkway because Tennessee is totally slacking on keeping the views clear, and so is North Carolina. I'm just saying. Harrison, am I saying your name right? Zyrenberg, is that right? Says, God bless you, brother. Thank you for your vibes. Hey, man, may the Lord Jesus Christ bless you as well. Am I saying your name right, though? Zyrenberg? Sounds good. It sounds good. It sounds close. Give me an award or something for. It's a cool name, though. Hey, less emphasis on the I. Zierenberg. Okay, that's cool. David Lowe says the state line road past the falls takes you almost to Murphy. Which falls, though? Which falls are you talking about, Dave? 10 out of 10. I got a 10 out of 10 from Harrison Zierenberg. That's cool. That's really cool. So, which I'm not sure which falls. And if you're talking about McCamey Falls, surely you're not talking about McCamey Falls. I don't know where you're talking. Tell me where you're talking about. Gary Millwood says, there is one on my mountain that goes from Signal to Suck Creek. Is that... Wait a minute. I can't remember where Suck Creek's at. Is that Tellico area? I thought that was Tellico area. Bald River Falls. Okay. But you have to walk that, don't you, David? I think you have to walk Bald River Falls. I'm assuming you're talking about there in Tennessee and you can walk over to North Carolina, right? I think so.
It's in Hamilton and Marion County.
Hamilton and Marion counties. But it's county to county, though. That's not state to state, is it? Give us some clarity, David. Give us some clarity, Gary. We're talking about, I know it's an odd topic for Vlogmas, but it's just one of those things that it's come up for the past 5 years, where we are in a national forest bordering another state that has a national forest, same national forest, usually George Washington National Forest. If George Washington and Jefferson National Forest is in the chat room, I mean, no disrespect. But there's no way to cross over, and it's like literally West Virginia will be like right there on top of the mountain, but the road ends and you can't cross. And I'm talking about from the north part of the state to the southern part of the state. Like, I can't find an exception yet. County to county. Yeah, I mean, county to county, sure, that happens all the time. We had 3 different counties today. And again, I'll share the wilderness area later. Not in this video, but in a video coming out. This Mountain Lake Wilderness is what it's called. Very nice, too. Very interesting place. The biggest wilderness area in the state or the Commonwealth of Virginia. David Lowe says the road that goes past Bald River Falls and goes to North Carolina ends 8 miles from Murphy. So it starts in Tennessee and goes to North Carolina, goes past Bald River Falls, goes to North Carolina, ends 8 miles, but it doesn't end in Tennessee, right? I just, for the life of me, there is a road. Just remembered one. In Tennessee, in Polk County, because you and I, and us and the kids, we all of us, the 5, they were little, and we got lost. We started in Tennessee, and off of Highway 64, and went into to the right. If you're going east, we went to the right, and you start out in Tennessee, and you end up in Georgia.
Yes, I remember that.
You end up somewhere coming out on 411. So that would be the exception to this. Yeah, see, but I don't understand why you don't, between North Carolina and Tennessee, you just don't see that type of cooperation. It probably has to do something with jurisdiction, maybe. I don't know. It just seems crazy. At first, I was coming up with these grand conspiracies. Like, for instance, the Cold War. I was thinking we've got these wonderful mountains situated north and south, which was a really big deal. And that's huge because if your mountains go the right direction, it helps you with invaders. That would be invading from the ocean, right? And maybe we were just cutting down all of the different routes between these wooded areas, these woodlands and these mountains, just basically ending those routes. But I suspect that just looking at the gates and stuff, that these routes probably were open all the way into the 70s and 80s, The road you're talking about will also take you to Ducktown. Yes, sir. That's right. That's right. Back in the day from Lost Creek Campground in East Tennessee, there in Polk County, there was a whole network of roads. You have Lost Creek and the McCamey Highway network there, a bunch of dirt roads going different directions. They close more and more down all the time. That network, you could drive across this water. You had to, forge the creek and go in. There was a whole other network of roads, and they shut it down, and for no reason. Just they said there was too much vandalism, and we were up there all the time. And sure, you saw some stuff sometime, but nothing insane, and it never made any sense. I've just noticed they are closing more and more of these mountain back roads, and I've yet to figure out the purpose, the reason, anything like that. So my Christmas gift this year, from if you are part of any national forest in these here United States of America, and you have a say in something, for my Christmas gift from you to me, I'm just asking for a little bit of explanation. Just a letter, an email. You can reach me at what is my email address? BillMarion5. The number 5 at gmail.com. You can send me an explanation. Please use good grammar. I'll notice. And just tell me what's happening there. It would be great. Anybody else curious? No, I'm the only one. David Lowe is talking about Bald River Falls. That's another wonderful wilderness area. I've fallen in love up here though with the wilderness areas in Virginia and in West Virginia, mainly because of the weather. I do like early spring, and I love, we have a long spring back in East Tennessee. We have a very long fall back in East Tennessee. But it feels like summer just never ends. I remember being at Lost Creek, again, there in the Ocoee River region, right outside Tellico, close to North Carolina, bottom corner of the state, 10 minutes from Georgia, 10 minutes from North Carolina, give or take. And it was winter. It was like January, and it was the warm part of the day, which down there, that's 55 degrees. And there was a mosquito that was buzzing around my ears. I'm like, are you serious? It's in the middle of winter. And so I don't miss the warm weather at all in Southeast Tennessee. I just don't miss it. I love the fact that we get a nice normal summer here, normal-ish summer. It's still kind of south, kind of. I don't call the area that we live in now the South. I know people here do. The South kicks in at New River Gorge. Is that New River? At New River. I think that's where the Southern Appalachians officially begin. So that's what we call the South now. Probably made everybody mad. Just had 2 people jump off. So yeah, I miss a lot of things. Tellico Plains. I miss Tellico Plains. I miss all of East Tennessee. But man, I don't miss the weather. I like the weather. I love the weather here. It does get it gets cold. We traveled over there today. I think it was 38 degrees was it about right? 38 degrees. About 38 degrees most of the day. And then at 1 o'clock, it kind of climbed up to like 45, 46. And then immediately, as soon as we kind of got out of the mountains and back to the interstate to leave that area, which we took Interstate 64 to leave, as soon as we got there, it started falling back down again, Cold. Gary Millwood said, I want to see that area. I have only seen your area from the interstate and a windshield. And you know what? It's beautiful from the interstate and windshield, right? I mean, Interstate 64 out of Virginia into West Virginia, or vice versa, whatever. Interstate 77. And of course, 81, not my favorite interstate at all. Horrible interstate, but the views are fantastic. Beautiful, both sides of the road. But I guess my favorite interstate here in this region, again, Interstate 81 is just bonkers, but what is it?
No, I was agreeing with you.
Oh, I thought you was about to tell me something. Oh, sorry. My favorite interstate, though, to this day in this area would probably be 77 because it's beautiful everywhere, both ways. They have these huge tunnels here, too. Like one going into Pittsburgh. I mentioned this last night. There's an interstate that goes into Pittsburgh. And again, if you were here last night, forgive me for repeating myself, but there's this interstate, and it's like they didn't want to go over the mountain into Pittsburgh. So they just like went halfway up the mountain, then like dug the tunnel in the middle of the mountain, or not quite to the top of it. It's kind of crazy. I didn't really get it. It looks like one of those projects done during the Roosevelt administration back during the Great Depression. It had that kind of a vibe to it. But there's tunnels everywhere here. We passed one of the craziest tunnel I've ever seen today in Virginia. It looked like it was like traffic went through one little bitty tunnel. It's a tiny tunnel. It was small, and it looked like a giant sewer drain. Seriously,
One-way traffic.
One-way traffic, and on the other side, going the other way, was a normal one-lane bridge. I guess maybe it was a temporary tunnel. I didn't know they did that, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yes, thanks, FDR. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I have heard terrible stories from a friend about 81. 81, they're doing this, I forget, $3 billion worth of improvements, widening. I don't know how many billions. I forget. But it's like a big project. If you have property, our church is located right beside 81. So myself and one of the board members, we went to the meeting where they talked about it. It doesn't affect our church. At least they said that. Of course, right down by the church, there's all this drainage stuff that they're about to put in. So it's narrow. It feels narrow. And for whatever reason, truckers, and I've got no disrespect to truckers. I like truckers. I've got friends that are truckers. Truckers bring the food to the table, right? However, truckers in the state of Virginia, it's like they forget everything. I've never understood it. I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, 81 accidents every single day. Big Frog barbecue and cooking. What's up, Big Frog? To say, Mr. Bill, listening as I drive home from work. I'm glad that you are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Very good to see you. And we'll be here with you. We're trying to do this every night around 7, with the exception of like Sunday night because we have a thing at the church. And so we'll probably cut in after or whatever, and just making it a lot of fun and hanging out 30 minutes to an hour and chilling and just keeping it light. I know some of our students, they start hollering at me as soon as I start Vlogmas. We want to do Vlogmas with you. So they'll probably sneak in a couple of times with us. I'm going to try to get Toby Downs or the Kilted Adventurer to come in on one of these. And let's just hang out, just talk, things like that. Walter Langston says, but the only way to get there is a 7-mile hike through. Oh, let me back up here. On the West Virginia state line has a nice place, a nice field that you can see for miles across 2 states. Sweet. David then says, our terrible stories. I got that already. And then you said the only way to get there is a 7-mile hike through Pearisburg. Man, that sounds like right down the road from where I was at today. David Lowe's offering his advice to have a convoy. Bryn G. Hello, Bryn G. Good to see you as always. Gary Millwood said, I have looked so forward to Vlogmas. That breaks my heart, Gary. And the reason why it breaks my heart is because my resolution last year, I think I am going to make another New Year's resolution, was to do this more often. But here's what happened. Vlogmas, and I know a couple of you heard this last night. I'm saying it for those of you who may not have been here. Vlogmas is not good for the channel. I don't know why, but it's because you're doing one thing and then you start doing something else. Maybe that's it. But the algorithm is not a fan of, if you're an outdoors channel all the time, to breaking in and having live streams. So that was a part of it. In the back of my head, I knew that it would hurt our overall channel decreasing. We passed 2 million views this year. Like, we have a total for our channel. That's phenomenal. That people want to watch a short, fat, bald man on a video is hilarious to me. I find it very humorous, but I'm very thankful. So yeah, 2 million views now. It's like, wow, that's awesome. Watch time is outstanding. But when you do certain things, it makes the algorithm mad, and you're like, ah. And there's a couple of hills that I'll die on. And one of them is talking about my faith in Christ. I don't care how many people it runs off. I'm going to talk about my faith in Christ every now and then. It's going to happen. Other than that, though, you kind of play the game with the algorithm. You know, if the algorithm says, hey, these videos are better, you kind of do that. So one of my resolutions this past year was to make more top 10 videos, which we did. We made quite a few, and they did well. And the other resolution was to come in, Gary, and do more live streams and just hang out like this. And this year, Carolyn, I'm going to do it. But I might do it on the Breathe channel that has just sat there abandoned for almost a year now, or maybe even over a year. So we might switch to the Breathe channel to do live streams if they allow that now. I'm not sure. Yeah, you can, if you're not partnered on a channel, you can. I think there's only 55 subscribers or 50 on that channel. So we might break in and do it on that channel. What do you think? That's probably a better idea. You could probably do that on the cell phone too when we're out on these. Sometimes when the sun is just right, and it happened at Spruce Knob this past summer. That was the one we did do that live stream. I forgot about that one. That was a lot of fun. We went to Spruce Knob for a sunset. Crystal, I think it was Crystal's idea. I think she produced that video. She's like, let's go to Spruce Knob. And we're like, okay. And so we went out there, and I brought, what's that? Yeah. And so we went to Spruce Knob, set up a camera, And I thought, hey, this is great. Nobody's going to show. This is awesome because the sun wasn't going down yet, but I didn't realize people had a better clock than I did or something. They showed up like at the perfect time. We'd been streaming for 35 minutes before the perfect time. And here comes the state of West Virginia. Like I'm videoing the sun. We're talking. We're having a great time. And here comes the state of West Virginia, like the whole state, all of them. They all showed up behind me and they're talking. And I just got quiet. And people that were on the live stream just, I guess they became a part of the ambiance. The people watching, they just listened to the other people talking and like, okay, we're doing this. It's kind of fun. You can check out that video. Go back through I would say this to do this with all of the creators on YouTube that you enjoy watching, is that at the end of the year, maybe you're kind of bored, whatever, it's late at night, maybe early in the morning, whenever. Go back to their catalog. Make sure you didn't miss anything because it may be that you don't get the notifications. I don't get all my notifications from people I watch on YouTube. I can't because let's say, I think I'm subscribed to like 750 people, right? 750 people. So when the notifications roll in, you're not going to see all those because you're going to scroll through it real quick. You're not going to see all of them. So be sure that you've caught up on our catalog. And there you go. But again, Bringy, it's great to see you in here as well. If I've missed anybody, I'm so sorry. I don't think I have. David, I've already said hello to you. And that's cool. And Gary. And Vlogmas I don't see Juan in here yet tonight. Billy at Strong's Adventures. I'm waiting for him to show up this Vlogmas season. I really should have called him before Thanksgiving, before I messed up with my Thanksgiving ham. It was awful. I'm telling you. I called him, I think it was 3 years ago, like a couple of days, was it, Carolyn, or the day before a holiday?
I think so.
And I was like, I need help. And he was just great. And he awesome, able to give specific instructions on how to cook this holiday ham. Walter Langston says, don't know how many I'm subscribed. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm subscribed to like 700 people because I'm trying to be nice. You know, a lot of times I'll watch maybe an up and coming content creator or something, and I'll be like, oh man, I'll subscribe to your channel. Yes, notify me, but you don't always get notified. Beard's looking good. David has pointed out that was the name of last night's Vlogmas. Carolyn hates the beard, loves the gold teeth, hates the beard. And so that was kind of the topic. Like, what am I going to do with this year? Because I don't know if I like it, this whole mix red. I don't know. It's not red anymore, is it? I don't know. Whatever color it is. And it just, I don't know. It's itchy. it started out as a good idea like everything else does. So I don't know. But I appreciate you saying that. But I feel like I'm not myself wearing the beard. Maybe if it was all white or something. I don't know. I could dye it. That's what I'll do. I'll dye it. I could dye it back to the original color, that rusty red that I had going on.
Or you could just shave.
I could do that. David said his wife, Dawn, hates it when he trims his beard. I mean, I'm just letting it go, man. Just letting it go. The idea was to let it go till the end of December, seriously. And it was sort of to mark time as we redid the fellowship hall and all that stuff. And incognito Bill. I think I still look like Bill. Still. But I don't know if I can make it to the end of December. I'm trying to make it to the end of December. But it's sort of annoying. It's just kind of weird. David says, please don't color it. Yes, I'm going to color it blue. I could color my beard blue. A lot of people are dyeing their hair blue these days. They are. I don't get that because it made sense when I was younger. It always made sense. Women and men would dye their hair because maybe insecurity or whatever, their hair was turning gray or their hair was turning whatever. And they would dye it to their original red. Or maybe you were tired of having black hair and then you would dye your hair red. I don't know, whatever variation was going on. But now nobody is restricted that normal hair colors. People are free to dye their hair green, purple, orange, or all colors and be like a My Little Pony from back in the day. It's not my thing, but I'm just saying it would be cool. Like if you did like a washout where, you color it blue or something. I don't know. What do you think?
Or
yes?
You can just shave it.
Or I can just shave it. She hates it. David Lowe says, going to wash that gray right out of your hair. If that were possible. It is kind of weird. I don't think it's photogenic. I don't think it captures the imagination the way it needs to. It just doesn't, I don't know. It takes away from my large nose. I will say that. It takes away from it. It hides it, right? Wouldn't you agree? I think so. So yeah, we're talking about roads tonight and how you can't get there from here. You can't cross that mountain. You just can't cross that mountain. Walter Langston says, we'll be hiking through there on the Appalachian Trail in the spring. Let me know, Walter. I'll come up and say hi to you. I'm not far from the AT at all. At all. 30 minutes.
He's talking about Glasgow. That's about 75 miles from us.
Well, okay. Glasgow? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Glasgow is a piece. But I'll catch up with you if you're going north, I'll catch up with you somewhere on the trail. We can talk about it. David says, you look wise. I feel wise, David. It must be the beard. The beard is giving the aura of wisdom. The aura of wisdom.
Fake news.
But I get your humor, David. I get it. So yeah, the Appalachian Trail does run through here. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Back in the southwest part of the state of Virginia, there's this, when I think of the Appalachian Trail, I'm always thinking the Blue Ridge Mountains, north and south. But it actually passes through two parts of West Virginia. And one is down in that area we were at today, near Burke's Garden, highest valley in the state of Virginia. Well, it's the highest valley east of the Mississippi, I think. And so there's a small slither of it there. But where we were at today at Mountain Lake Wilderness, we didn't know it, but there was the Appalachian Trail in that part on the other side of the valley, the west side of the valley, the Allegheny side of the valley. There was a huge section of the Appalachian Trail there that I guess I knew it was there, but as far as knowing the Appalachian Trail, but we've never been down there to see it. We've never explored this area of Virginia. And it turns out I'm going to have to apologize to Stacy Cope because he's been trying to get us to that area. There's a lake down there somewhere where Dirty Dancing was filmed back in the 80s. Do you remember it? Come on, you do. You remember Patrick Swayze and the other girl. We remember Patrick Swayze, but I have no idea what her name is. Baby. Her name is Baby because nobody puts Baby in the corner, right? So it's filmed down there. Maybe it's Clayton Lake or something. Crater Lake. Yeah. Clater Lake. And that's really cool. And I think it's the same lake that it like literally empties out every year or something. And then it comes back or something. And we're really excited about that. And we didn't want to do that today, though. First of all, it's kind of a spring, summer, fall kind of thing. And we wanted Stacy and Sunshine to go with us. That's a weird thing. We made a video with Stacy and Sunshine Cope. They're from that part of Virginia. We took them on Skyline Drive. They weren't impressed, I might add. They were not impressed. But we took them on Skyline Drive, and we had a great time. We laughed hysterically the whole day. It was a blast. And we were in their awesome Jeep, which I'm still mulling over. Like today would have been a great day to have had a Jeep. It would just been perfect. The problem is I'm not a mechanic, and from what I understand, you need to be a mechanic if you're going to be a part of the Mopar Club. I actually learned what Mopar was this year. Yeah, I'm not a mechanic, guys. I'm not even a car guy. I mean, seriously, Carolyn does a lot of our driving. She does on the interstate. I work, computer, all that stuff. And Carolyn drives. We get in the mountains. I drive. It's a lot of fun. David Lowe says, I got a friend planning on going to that resort. Yeah, it's really nice. We didn't get to it this past summer. I think we waited too late. Bottom line, we just waited too late. And time got away from us, and we had to get serious. And with the summer on part of the year, we had been gone for a couple of weeks sabbatical. And at that point, it was like, okay, we got stuff to do. So I think we just kind of ran out of time. By the way, I want to thank all of you guys for being here. I'm not going anywhere yet, but while you're here, I want to thank you so much for being a part of our channel all year, watching our videos, hitting the like button, being subscribed, leaving comments, those things that make this channel awesome. We are very, very grateful. I'm grateful that you're here tonight and that we're hanging out and talking. That's what Vlogmas is really all about, is about connecting on videos. If you have questions about a video, if you've gone back and you went, okay, tell me more about that. If you want to know some behind the scenes stuff, like, okay, what was really going on here? Was somebody asked me recently, like a person in 3D, a person in real life, so to speak, that came up and said, okay, when you and Carolyn were in a wilderness area and you were driving through all kinds of branches and trees, and Carolyn got mad. And I stopped them all and went, that's pretend. She wasn't really mad. Like we set that story up. Just things like that. If you have questions about any of our videos or comments or want to see more of A, want to see more B, man, Vlogmas is when we talk about that. And it's a lot of fun. Give me a hard time about something in a video. I know for a long time we talked about Dutch ovens. The Dutch oven, which is a cooking utensil, it's a pot. And we just kept talking about it. The first few years that we did Vlogmas, I would run out of things to talk about because it's free stream of consciousness. That's what Vlogmas is supposed to be. And so when I would run out of stuff, I would immediately go back to talking about the Dutch oven and all this other stuff. It was just hilarious. Jennifer Grey was on. That's her name. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Jennifer Grey. I remember now. And if I'm not mistaken, she got out of acting or something. I can't remember what it was. She retired from acting for a while. I don't know. There was like a behind the scenes or something. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it because I remember Jennifer Grey. I remember Jennifer Grey from Red Dawn. Was she not in Red Dawn? And also the woman from Back to the Future who played Marty McFly's mother. Yeah, they were both on. And so was Patrick Swayze, of course. Anybody else remember Red Dawn besides me? Okay, maybe not. I didn't know. Red Dawn is the greatest movie ever. Not the new one, the one back in the 80s when we were fighting the Soviet Union. Fighting the Soviet Union the way Red Dawn fought the Soviet Union, because you know that's how we'd win right there. Gary Millwood says, I'm fighting the Dutch oven temptation all night. Now I've been tempted. It's hysterical, man. And to celebrate after last year, I actually cooked a dish in the Dutch oven. I actually cooked I cooked 2 dishes. I did jambalaya and fried chicken. Yeah.
Jennifer Grey had surgery done, which hurt her acting career.
Jennifer Grey had, I think it was like plastic surgery to her face. That's what it was.
The first one, they messed
That's right.
up. And the second one.
So, in case you can't hear Carolyn, because the mic is directional, that Jennifer Grey had surgery to fix something like plastic surgery, and it ruined her career. That's what it was. That's sad. It's really sad. But yeah, last year we made fried chicken in the Dutch oven, not during Vlogmas, but after, and jambalaya. And really, on both accounts, I was hurting for a video. It's not a cooking channel, but I was part of that, what was it? Hashtag Dutch oven Iron Wednesday or Cast Iron Wednesday or something with Strong's Adventures. And that was a lot of fun. David Lowe says Charlie Sheen Charlie Sheen was in it too. I forgot about that. And he was winning. He was. Big Frog says, that's my Dutch oven. Yes, I have one Dutch oven, but I keep wanting to do a Dutch oven giveaway. Those things are expensive. They are expensive. They cost a lot of money. David Lowe says she was on an episode of Friends. Didn't look like her. Bryn G says Meg Ryan had some plastic surgery that messed up her career. I didn't know that about Meg. I wondered what happened to Meg. Like, she was dating Russell Crowe. You remember that? She's dating Russell Crowe. But it was like she'd left Dennis Quaid for Russell Crowe, and it was like a big deal. And there were no hashtags back then. Remember, there were no hashtags. And so nobody was like justice for Dennis Quaid. And I don't know I thought everybody had just sided with Meg, but I haven't seen Meg around in a long time. Quickly, what's everybody's favorite movie with Meg Ryan? Quickly, anybody got one? I'm going with Top Gun. Yeah, she's in Top Gun. She is in Top Gun. She's Goose's wife in Top Gun. Big Frog says, where's the video of the top 10 conspiracy theories about Opryland? It's one of those things where I forgot. That's a brilliant video, and that should have been made. Matter of fact, that might get made in December. I forgot about that until you just mentioned it. Just life, you forget, like, oops, because that might be, that's gold. And now with YouTube, whereas there for a while I was really careful because they'd cracked down on everything. I'm not as worried about that now. This channel's docile, and there's that isn't going to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't hurt people's feelings, though. I don't like hurting feelings, of course. Reggie says she doesn't look like Meg Ryan. Top Gun. Are you talking about like she didn't look like Meg Ryan in Top Gun? Is that what you were saying? Because in Top Gun, she looks to me like the Meg Ryan we all know. And then there was that movie where she was like a soldier, like a platoon leader or something, or tank commander. I don't remember what she was doing. And like somebody got an Academy Award for that, or I don't remember. Best Picture, something. It's about like PTSD and covering stuff up. I don't. Denzel's in it. She looked like Meg in that movie, and then I don't remember that she starred anything else. Inner Space. I might have to change my vote. Inner Space is awesome. Inner Space is. I'd forgotten all about Inner Space. I still remember the song.
Where she was with Denzel was Courage Under Fire.
Courage Under Fire is a good movie, but that's the movie I was talking about. But it was Inner Space. She was playing the role with Dennis Quaid, and yes, that might be my favorite Meg Ryan movie. Might be my favorite Dennis Quaid movie, actually. It's a good movie, man. Martin Short's in that movie. and a lot of character actors that usually play in comedic roles. It's just a fun movie. I still remember the opening song to that. Bringy says, speaking of Top Gun, saw the new one and it was phenomenal. No, she doesn't look like she looked in Top. I see what you're saying after the surgery. Sure. I was looking at this other panel, and here's the thing about the new Top Gun, Bryn. I really, really enjoyed it, but I had to question myself as to why. Let me explain. Movies are terrible now. They're awful. If you find something decent, and when I mean decent, man, I'm not even talking about like Charlie Brown, the old Charlie Brown Christmas thing. I'm talking about something decent that isn't just throwing propaganda pieces constantly, in your face.
Or that it's clean.
Just something that's just halfway decent. But to find that with a good plot, good acting, directing, so it's rare. It never happens. Yes, Top Gun was awesome. The sequel, Top Gun. Tom Cruise is never going to grow old, right? That's what the sequel should have been called. It was awesome. But I'm wondering, was it awesome because movies are so bad and just these days? Or did that make it good? Or is it actually a good movie? I don't know. I'm still mulling that over. I mean, it's been, I don't know. When did it come? When did we get? July, May?
I think it was summer, early summer.
It was early summer. And that's what, every time I think about it, that's what comes to my mind. Walter Langston says, love watching the older movies. Yeah, I would rather watch movies from the 80s, 90s, and even really, I watch black and white movies. I go way back. I would rather watch those. Modern movies they're just terrible. They're just not good. I'm not even being critical of, there's certain things I just can't watch, just period. I just, it conflicts with my faith or whatever. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about just movies, just PG rated movies. They're just terrible. Does anybody else agree with me on that, or am I out there? Am I the only one that thinks movies are just awful? And they always have something weird. The rumor is, I've got to say this. We're talking about movies. The new Indiana Jones 5 movie. The new Indiana Jones 5. I don't know if you've seen the trailer on here, but the rumor has it that he's got a sidekick, a female sidekick, and that at the end of the movie, this is the rumor, it's because it's about time travel and stuff. That's the rumor, that she basically becomes Indiana Jones because he undoes something that means he basically didn't exist or something. I don't know. And then his sidekick relives all of his adventures, but it's her. That, if that's true, it's just weird. It's just so crazy. David Lowe says, no good movies at all, only movies creating characters. Yeah, they're creating some characters, are all right. Big Frog Barbecue says the new Top Gun was good because it wasn't bad like most of the new movies. Exactly. Their new movies are awful. They're just awful. David Lowe, or excuse me, Bringy says, I think it's a little of both. Sure, absolutely. It normally is. Movies are bad now, but they did a great job with Maverick. Yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise, let's just face it, either a real complex man or a real simple one. There's no real way to say it, right? He's not always had the best press. He's made some messes, maybe more that we don't even know about. But Tom Cruise brings charisma to the screen. When he's on the screen, it's like, man, things are happening. And now he's going to make a movie in space. If anybody can pull that off, it's going to be Tom Cruise. If you ever watch those guys that use the computer stuff to make them look like somebody else, there's a guy that does Tom Cruise. Like they do the computer thing, but he sounds like him. He knows how to act like him. It's hysterical. It is so funny. It's better than Ben Stiller's deal, when he imitates Tom Cruise in that little, I don't remember what they did that on, but it was funny. Big Frog says, expectations are low for new movies, so it's exciting when one is actually good. So true. And I know you guys remember when in the summer, fall, whatever, during cinema season, you would have, dozens of movies to choose from. And now you don't have that. You don't have that. It's and they all have to fit a certain guidelines and all this stuff. So even when you're watching a movie, you're sort of taken out of the movie sometimes because you feel almost as if you're being guided into a social mindset that a lot of people just simply don't share. And you don't mind that somebody else maybe they have that opinion or this and that, but you have to sit through it and endure it. That's so boring. That's just so boring. It takes away from the plot. You know, I thought when you go to the movies, you're supposed to suspend disbelief. So, but when you see something really just outrageous, it takes you away from the plot. Even if the plot is outrageous, like Star Wars, Star Wars, the plot is completely outrageous. Bridgie says, and when it's good, it makes a lot of money. And if it's so, it's a box office flop. From what I can gather, studios like Disney and Warner Brothers, they're flopping a lot. That's what it seems to me anyway. They're flopping a lot. So you would think that would redirect their intent, what the direction that they're heading. Gary Millwood says, Bill, have you lost weight? Why, thank you. Yes, overall, I've lost weight. I mean, not drastically anytime in the past few months, but since last Vlogmas, I lost it. The beard helps too. The beard hides like the double chin and stuff. So, but seriously, probably lost 12 pounds, 13 pounds since last Vlogmas. And honestly, that's just reducing sugar big time. My accountability buddy, when it comes to my weight and when I say weight, really just more like intake, not really weight isn't like measurements and all that stuff, just being healthy. It's Billy McDaniel at the church. And he's a phenomenal minister, but he's my accountability person who asked me, hey, what'd you eat this past week? And I've given him that permission, that right away to sort of invade that part of who I am, to remind me, hey, you're a diabetic. Don't lose toes. Stay off the sugar. And also just overall, are you eating right? Because a lot of times with a diabetic, I didn't know this stuff, and learning as I go, I guess, is that whereas when I was younger, the way we would say it is your sugar's dropping, but what it is you just need to eat, but you get the shakes and all that. I'm sure some of you guys do that too. But what happens when your sugar starts running high all the time, for me anyway, I'll lose my appetite. Or when you wake up in the morning, you don't want to eat because maybe the night before you cheated on your diet or whatever. And so your sugar's running high and you're just not hungry. And that's like the worst thing you can do. So yeah, it's helped a lot just to do that, and I'm happy about that. I tell you what though, now it's like you can taste sugar. I mean, like if I have a bowl of cereal and it's like junk cereal, it feels like I'm just straight up eating, sugar, white sugar out of a bag. David says, that's awesome, brother. Thank you for sharing that. I needed to hear it. Yeah. I mean, the thing is just sometimes having people it's not having somebody just yell at you about stuff. That doesn't work. It's just having somebody remind you it's a thing. You get busy, stressed, whatever. And then somebody just says, hey, are you eating breakfast? Or are you, you're not going for the sausage biscuit every time, right? That kind of thing. Hey, how are you doing with you? How about peanut butter instead of Apple Jacks? That kind of stuff. And that's essentially what I've been doing, Gary. Nothing else. It's all about intake anyway. It's less about working out. I know that's something I've known 20, 30 years now, maybe longer. It's less about working out. It's really more about what you're putting in the gas tank. When we first moved to Virginia, I'd lost a lot of weight. And I haven't gained that back yet, actually. But I got up to, I don't know how large, I got large. I got huge. I think for about a minute and a half of my life, I got up to like 265 or something. Huge for me. I'm short. Billy McDaniel, I was just talking about you. I didn't know if you were eavesdropping there, but I was just talking about you. It says, stupid bat signal still on the fritz. I was just talking about you, Billy, that you are my accountable. Gary Millwood was asking me about if I'd lost weight. And I'm like, well, some of it's the beard making me look skinnier, but I have lost like 12, depending on what day of the week it is, like 12 to 14 pounds. And I said, you were my accountability partner that had complete permission to say, hey, you're not picked the Cokes back up. You haven't picked the candy bars back up yet. Well, and sometimes I have to look at Billy and have to say, yeah, I broke down and I ate this. And so blah, blah, blah. But, and of course, the freedom to tell the truth without getting lectured. It's not about the lecture. It's just about accountability. And so it's awesome. And I was just talking about you. It's like I spoke your name there into existence. It's pretty fun. So thanks, Gary. I appreciate you noticing. I think a lot of it, though, one of the reasons why, I've got the hoodie on, right? So it's hiding this part of the double chin, the middle-aged double chin. And then, of course, the beard that Carolyn hates that's hiding the upper part of the lower chin. We're going to start sprints in the morning. Now you're drinking. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing. No, actually, I did a little bit of a, not sprint, but a quick jog today. It was only for about 13 seconds. But Carolyn, I'm sure you saw me. It was behind the truck. I was videoing something. And I took off in a, I don't know, if the outward, I don't know how Einstein's relativity works exactly, but maybe it was a fast walk, maybe. But from my perspective, it was a sprint. From my perspective, I think other people there in that community probably thought I was walking. Running from Santa doesn't count. Well, at least I wasn't in Alien, West Virginia today. There is a part of West Virginia, and I didn't want to share that. I'm not going to mention where, because I made a video about this place recently, but when you come off this mountain, there is a statue of an alien. I know aliens. I get it. But there's like this statue. It's like it's a throne, and it wigged me out. And it's like, I love that part of West Virginia, but I'm not going back there for a while. I'm telling you, it was just freaky. Lots of weird stuff there. Kind of great. Not West Virginia is awesome, but it's just this one little area. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I've lost a little bit of weight, but not 5 tons of weight. Not 5 tons. Now, I got a little poll. I'm going to ask you guys a question. I want to just help me decide. Is it better to do these live streams at 8 as opposed to 7? And again, we're talking about Eastern Standard Time. Is it better to go at 7 or 8? I've noticed that we have an uptick in our visitors at 8 o'clock. So that tells me that maybe we should go to 8.
I think it would help with our schedules too.
I think it would help with our schedule. 7 seems to be pushing it, doesn't it? Maybe we go back to 9. I don't know. So some feedback, everybody, even if you're just listening. I don't wreck your car, but this would be a great moment to remember to tell me later at some point. By the way, I want to say this again. I said this earlier. I'm so grateful for all of you guys chilling out here in the chat room. I know some people have left and come back, but I'm very grateful that you guys are here hanging out. And I'm grateful that you've watched our videos all year and hit the like button and all that stuff. So Gary says 8. He's the only one weighing in right now. Come on, people. I need some feedback here. How about it? Big Frog says 8:15. The one guy, there's got to be that guy. How about 8:07? How about 8:18? I'm thinking we go back. Is 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time? Is that too late? Get some feedback there. Let's get some talking going. And by the way, I don't know if I hit the monetize button on this. I'm serious. It's hilarious.
Is that something I can do?
No. It's too late. It's just funny. I just realized that I need to write it out. Billy Banana says, I'm waiting on my back signal bulbs. Probably 8 because the city is quieter. I can hear the shofar. If you guys need to spend more time with Billy McDaniel, he's hilarious. Big Frog Barbecue and Cooking. 9 would be fun. We may do a split there and do like 8:30 because Big Frog was okay with, what was it, 7:30, 7:15, 8:15. I think probably 8:15 is probably a better time, or 8. It's just any time in there to where, and then that way, if we go over, that it's okay to go over. It's not too late. 9 would be too late to go over because once you get past 10, man, Bigfoot goes to bed. I did see Bigfoot today where I was at. I'm happy. I can't wait to share that with you. Carolyn actually did the video on Bigfoot. Big Frog is recommending 8:52, which sounds perfect, other than the fact that I'm kind of scared of the number 15. That is 15, right? 8 plus 5 plus 2. That's 15. Yeah, I'm scared of the number 15. We're going to go with that. Yeah. Making some adjustments here in the studio. That would be cool too, just to have 6 a.m. Walter's like 6 a.m. It'd be cool, like to have like a morning show. But we are considering doing on the Breathe channel that is sort of dormant and dead because I don't know what I was thinking. I like making those videos, but we were just really struggling getting the numbers up on that channel, and we weren't struggling. We weren't struggling any more than we did with this channel, but it was like starting all over. It was like and so I found that I was making videos a lot like the videos on this channel, and it just seemed to be a waste. Nevertheless, we've talked about doing a different kind of thing on that channel where it's this. And we talked about it last year, and I wasn't ready to give up Breathe. Turns out I gave it up anyway. Quit. I didn't quit breathing, but we quit the channel Breathe. So yeah, it sounds like we're gonna bump this to 8, and I'll put out a message tomorrow. Big Frog says, anytime you pick, I will try to do it. Excellent. I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful that you guys are able to come in with your schedules and everything else, because I know you guys are busy. All of you are. And so the fact that you give us this kind of time is wonderful. We have a great time. And Gary says, me too. And I appreciate Gary was the first one in tonight. It's like, all right, Gary, let's go, Gary. Gary's so sweet. Earlier tonight, he said, I've been looking forward to this all year. And that just makes you feel awesome. It's like, excellent. So we're going to definitely be here with you all through December. There may be a few occasions we're like on the road doing this, not literally because we wouldn't get signal long enough, but we might be elsewhere doing, if we almost had to do that tonight if we didn't get back in time. Like, we're going to dive into, not to spend the night, but dive into like a Hilton property, like a Hampton Inn or something, because we had one of their cards, use one of their, what do you call it? Rooms, not hotel room, but yeah, they're meeting spaces, and do our live stream. That's we were doing that, but we got back in time. So we got back with time to spare even. So that's kind of cool. Well, guys, I appreciate you stopping by, man. This has been Vlogmas 2 that's in the can, and I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow night. I'll leave a message tomorrow about the time. I'm sure it's going to be 8. That's what we're settling on, and then we'll start going from there, except for Sunday night. Sunday night will be a little different. Word out, Billy. I almost forgot to mention the Delius. What am I missing there? Let me know which. I almost forgot to mention the delicious Dutch oven that we cooked with earlier in the year. I'm not sure, but nevertheless, we'll put a little advertisement or whatever on the. We'll put an advertisement on the first page there. It says, Gary Miller says apple butter, the delicious apple butter. Yes, the apple butter is the bomb. We sold out this year, and we made more money on it this year than I think they said the church has made on it. So that's awesome. That's great. So we're thrilled. I might advertise a little more on YouTube next year about the apple butter. I don't know. We had a lot of fun. Anyway, you guys be blessed. Have a great night.